Welcome back to our channel, the go-to destination for the most insightful and comprehensive analyses of dramatic life in Genoa. Today is a great day to delve into the complex emotional underbelly of our favorite characters, exploring their hidden fears and shocking decisions that are about to change their destinies forever. Will Nick dare to face the harsh reality? How will she react upon learning of Nikki's terminal illness? Let's uncover the tragedies and triumphs that await us. The atmosphere in Genoa City is thick with an almost suffocating tension as the Newman family navigates a treacherous intersection of corporate warfare and deeply personal health crises. The towering glass walls of Newman Enterprises and the sprawling, shadowed grounds of the Newman Ranch serve as the battlegrounds for a family constantly at war with external enemies and internal demons. This week, the stakes are elevated to an excruciating level as a cascade of leaked information threatens to destabilize the fragile peace. At the center of this brewing storm is the indomitable matriarch, Nikki Newman, who finds herself battling a terrifying new physical symptom while desperately trying to anchor her fractured family. Simultaneously, the ruthless patriarch, Victor Newman, is preparing to drop a corporate bombshell that will send shockwaves through the business world and deeply wound the woman he claims to love. The intricate dance of power, vulnerability, and deception is about to reach a crescendo that will leave no member of the Newman dynasty unscathed. Victor Newman has never been a man to let sentimentality cloud his ruthless business acumen, and his latest maneuver is a testament to his cold, calculating nature. For weeks, Victor has been orchestrating a masterclass in corporate sabotage, utilizing highly advanced, fabricated artificial intelligence evidence to dismantle his enemies and reclaim his empire. However, the revelation of his next move is a shocking pivot that defies all expectations. In a stunning reversal of his usual hoarding of power, Victor makes the monumental decision to return Chancellor Industries to Lily Winters. This is not an act of benevolence, but a highly strategic, calculated play designed to manipulate the board and solidify his ultimate endgame. The sheer magnitude of this decision reverberates through the corporate echelons of Genoa City, completely upending the power dynamics and leaving his rivals scrambling to decipher his true motives. Victor operates like a grandmother moving pawns on a global chessboard, and handing Chancellor back to Lily is a sacrifice plate that conceals a much darker, more devastating objective. The collateral damage of Victor's shocking business pivot strikes closest to home, landing a devastating blow to his wife, Nikki. In a moment of chilling detachment, Victor confronts Nikki with the harsh reality of her professional future. He bluntly informs her that she will not be returning to the beloved company she has poured her heart and soul into. This declaration is a profound betrayal, stripping Nikki of her professional identity and autonomy at a time when she feels her control slipping away in other aspects of her life. For Nikki, Newman Enterprises has always been more than just a corporation. It is a symbol of her strength, her legacy, and her equal standing beside her larger-than-life husband. Victor's unilateral decision to exclude her from the corporate fold is a deeply emasculating and isolating move, reinforcing his absolute dominance and leaving Nikki to grapple with a profound sense of obsolescence and rejection within the very empire she helped build. As if the emotional trauma of Victor's corporate betrayal were not enough, Nikki is simultaneously waging a terrifying, silent war within her own body. The relentless, agonizing migraines that have plagued her for weeks are escalating with alarming ferocity, but they are no longer her only torment. A terrifying new symptom emerges, plunging Nikki into a state of absolute dread, severe, disorienting vision problems. The world around her begins to blur and fracture, mirroring the crumbling stability of her life. Given her long, painful history with multiple sclerosis, these neurological warning signs are a horrifying indication that her disease may be progressing, or worse, that a new, deadly affliction is taking root in her brain. The sheer terror of losing her sight, of losing her independence, and of becoming a burden to her family creates a suffocating psychological weight that threatens to crush her spirit. Yet, in true Nikki Newman fashion, she chooses the path of agonizing stoicism, burying her terror beneath a facade of unwavering strength. The depth of Nikki's maternal sacrifice becomes achingly clear as she consciously decides to downplay her terrifying physical deterioration for the sake of her son, Nick. Nick is currently fighting for his life in the suffocating grip of a severe fentanyl addiction, a crisis exacerbated by the psychological torture inflicted upon him by the malicious Matt Clark. Nikki, having survived the dark, treacherous depths of her own decades-long battle with alcoholism, understands the fragile, precarious nature of early recovery. She knows that Nick is standing on a precipice, and any additional stress could easily push him back into the abyss of substance abuse. Therefore, Nikki makes the heartbreaking, selfless choice to endure her excruciating pain and terrifying vision loss in absolute silence. She paints on a brave smile, forces her trembling hands to remain still, and channels every ounce of her fading energy into being the unwavering pillar of support her son so desperately needs, risking her own life to ensure his survival. The emotional climax of their shared struggle unfolds within the stark, sterile walls of a local substance abuse recovery meeting. The room is heavy with the collective trauma and fragile hope of recovering addicts, a poignant backdrop for the Newman family's private agony. Nikki stands steadfastly by Nick's side, a silent, powerful testament to unconditional maternal love. The atmosphere is thick with an almost unbearable tension as Nick prepares to confront his demons in front of a room full of strangers. The psychological weight of the Newman legacy, a name synonymous with power, perfection, and invulnerability, bears down heavily on Nick's shoulders. To admit weakness, to confess to a crippling addiction to fentanyl, requires a monumental dismantling of his pride and his identity. Nikki watches him with a mixture of immense pride and agonizing physical distress, her vision swimming and her head throbbing as she silently prays for her son to find the courage to speak his truth. The moment Nick finally steps forward to share his story is a masterclass in raw, unfiltered vulnerability. The internal conflict tearing at his soul is palpable as he wrestles with the immense shame and guilt of his addiction. Slowly, agonizingly, he begins to strip away the protective layers of his Newman armor, exposing the raw, bleeding wounds beneath. He delves into the terrifying reality of his dependency on the lethal opioids, the dark, desperate moments of craving, and the profound fear of losing everything he holds dear. The confession is a torrential outpouring of repressed emotion, a cathartic release of the poison that has been slowly killing him from the inside out. He speaks of the trauma inflicted by Matt Clark, the crushing weight of his family's expectations, and the terrifying realization that he is entirely powerless over his addiction. The room sits in empathetic silence as Nick lays his soul bare, taking the first, agonizing step on the long, treacherous road to redemption. For Nikki, witnessing her son's profound vulnerability is a deeply polarizing experience. On one hand, her heart swells with an overwhelming, fierce pride. She knows intimately the sheer terror of standing before a group and admitting absolute defeat to a substance. And seeing Nick summon the bravery to do so fills her with a profound sense of hope for his future. On the other hand, the physical toll of her silent suffering is reaching a critical breaking point. As Nick's emotional confession pours out, Nikki's vision narrows into a terrifying tunnel, the edges of the room darkening as a blinding, localized agony pierces her skull. She is trapped in a cruel, ironic purgatory, watching her son begin to heal his shattered spirit while her own physical body is actively failing her. The Herculean effort required to remain upright, to project strength while her neurological system misfires, is a testament to the boundless, sacrificial nature of a mother's love. In the immediate aftermath of the emotionally draining rehab meeting, the adrenaline that had been sustaining Nikki finally evaporates, leaving her entirely defenseless against the onslaught of her symptoms. The headaches transition from a dull, persistent ache to a blinding, incapacitating agony that radiates through her entire body. The vision problems escalate from a mere blurriness to terrifying moments of complete darkness, disorienting her and leaving her feeling profoundly vulnerable in her own home. The realization sets in with a cold, paralyzing certainty. She can no longer ignore the warning signs. The facade of strength she has so carefully maintained is crumbling, and the terrifying fog of uncertainty regarding her health is rapidly morphing into a concrete, undeniable crisis. The silent suffering has reached its absolute limit, forcing Nikki to confront the terrifying reality that her life may be in imminent, catastrophic danger. Driven by a profound sense of self-preservation and the terrifying realization that her condition is rapidly deteriorating, Nikki finally surrenders to the inevitable and decides to seek immediate medical intervention. The psychological dread of facing a doctor, of hearing the words that will confirm her darkest fears, is almost as paralyzing as the physical symptoms themselves. She knows that stepping into that sterile examination room will irrevocably alter the trajectory of her life and the lives of everyone she loves. The looming shadow of a grim, potentially terminal diagnosis hangs heavy over the Newman family, threatening to shatter their already fragile stability. As the week draws to a close, Nikki prepares to face a terrifying medical verdict, a diagnosis that will force Victor to confront the devastating consequences of his neglect and completely redefine the priorities of the powerful Newman dynasty. While the Newman family grapples with their profound internal crises, a different kind of drama is unfolding within the medical community of Genoa City. Dr. Stephanie Simmons, a brilliant physician with a complex, deeply buried history in the town, is preparing to make a monumental professional announcement. In a confidential, highly charged conversation with Nate Hastings, Stephanie reveals a closely guarded secret. She has officially accepted the prestigious position of Chief of Staff at Genoa City Memorial Hospital. This revelation is a massive professional triumph, marking her triumphant return to the pinnacle of the medical establishment. However, for Stephanie, this career milestone is inextricably linked to her deeply complicated personal life, specifically her recent, shocking reconciliation with Malcolm Winters and their newly discovered son, Holden Novak. The weight of her past deceptions casts a long, anxious shadow over her current success. Stephanie's internal landscape is a turbulent sea of guilt, hope, and profound insecurity. Despite Holden's outward assurances that he has forgiven her for decades of devastating lies regarding his true paternity, Stephanie is plagued by a paralyzing fear. She confides in Nate her deep-seated anxiety that Holden is merely playing the role of the dutiful, accommodating son, masking a deep, simmering resentment beneath a veneer of polite acceptance. She is terrified that her presence in Genoa City, compounded by her high-profile new job, will ultimately suffocate Holden and drive him away. The psychological torment of wondering if her child's forgiveness is genuine or merely a fragile, temporary truce threatens to sabotage her ability to embrace her new role. Stephanie is caught in a torturous limbo, desperately craving her son's love while remaining terrified that she fundamentally destroyed their bond with her historic deceit. Recognizing the profound emotional distress in his esteemed colleague, Nate Hastings steps into the role of a compassionate mediator and wise confidant. Drawing upon his own extensive, often painful experiences navigating the treacherous waters of the Winters family dynamics, Nate offers Stephanie a deeply empathetic and grounded perspective. He gently but firmly urges her to silence her internal saboteur and place her trust in the sincerity of Holden's forgiveness. Nate understands the immense capacity for healing within their family, and he passionately argues that Stephanie's acceptance of the Chief of Staff position is not a burden to Holden, but rather a testament to her strength and a foundation for their new life together. By validating her fears while simultaneously challenging her insecurities, Nate provides Stephanie with the crucial emotional support she needs to step out of the shadow of her past mistakes and confidently claim her rightful place at the hospital. The profound, emotionally resonant conversation with Stephanie serves as a powerful catalyst for Nate's own internal awakening. As he counsels Stephanie on the importance of embracing second chances and reclaiming one's professional passion, Nate finds himself confronting a deeply buried desire of his own. The tragic, violent altercation with Devon that resulted in severe nerve damage had abruptly and cruelly ended his promising career as a surgeon, forcing him to pivot into the cutthroat world of corporate business. However, the spark of his true calling has never fully extinguished. Inspired by Stephanie's courage to return to the forefront of medicine, Nate makes a stunning, deeply personal admission. He has been seriously contemplating a return to the medical field. This revelation is a monumental shift, signaling a profound desire to heal from his past trauma and rediscover the profound sense of purpose he lost when his surgical career was violently ripped away. The possibility of Nate donning a white coat once again promises a fascinating new chapter of redemption and healing. Watching these intricate tapestries of human vulnerability unfold fills our hearts with a profound, almost overwhelming sense of empathy. There is something deeply moving, almost sacred, about witnessing a mother like Nikki Newman willingly endure excruciating physical agony to serve as a silent, unyielding shield for her broken son. It speaks to the universal, boundless nature of parental love, a love that demands absolute sacrifice in the face of insurmountable odds. We are entirely captivated by this raw depiction of the human spirit, observing how the darkest moments of addiction and physical failing can illuminate the purest, most selfless acts of devotion. It is in these quiet, agonizing moments of silent suffering and whispered confessions that the true, enduring strength of these iconic characters is forged, reminding us all of the extraordinary resilience required to simply survive the relentless storms of life. As the shadows lengthen over Genoa City, the stage is set for a series of explosive, life-altering revelations. Will the impending, terrifying medical diagnosis finally break Nikki's indomitable spirit, or will it force a profound, long-overdue reckoning within her fractured marriage to Victor? And as Nate Hastings stands on the precipice of a monumental career resurgence, how will his potential return to the medical world disrupt the delicate corporate and personal alliances he has forged? The ticking clock of secrets and failing health promises a crescendo of drama that will leave audiences breathless.